One, and we are live.
This is Emil Fisher with Jiu-Jitsu Times. Today is the very first episode of the new Jiu-Jitsu Times podcast. We have a very special guest, internationally renowned heavy metal singer Matt Heafy from the band Trivium. He's also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt and a real enthusiast for the art. My co-host is Chris Zahar, who everybody hates, and we're going to be talking about some jiu-jitsu and metal today.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds good. So appreciate it.
So the first question for Matt is, how long have you been doing jiu-jitsu? I know we did a recent interview and you were talking about, what was it, 3 years, 4 years now?
I started 3/13/13, and when I was a kid, for some reason, I remember asking, in our heads, we asked for a sign of something good, and I remember looking at the clock, and it was 3:33, and that number pops up kind of all the time in my life, and it's just interesting that the first time I actually formally was a member of Gracie Barra North Orlando was 3/13/13, so it's always so easy to remember for me. So it's almost 5 years now.
Nice.
But I think when we chatted, I think I just got my blue last time I talked to you.
It's got your purple.
Yeah, I'm purple 2 right now.
Yeah. Yep. When we did the interview, you just got your purple belt. Now, you said you're at Gracie Barra North Orlando. Do you cross-train at all in Orlando? I know there's some really good schools down there. I know there's like a Marcio Simas school. I know there's Bruno Malfacine is down there. Do you get to train around at all?
What's awesome is actually Marcio founded our school. So I originally started training with Marcio Simas at first, and then Gustavo Mugiati took over. So I've been able to learn from the two of those guys. And I mean, when I'm home, because I'm away so much and I get to train at other gyms, when I'm home, I like to be at my gym because I don't get to see them all too much. So I've been training there a lot, and I started our own kind of club called like the GB Grim Reapers, because Gracie Barra North Orlando isn't too, as people know, Gracie Barra isn't really like a heel hook school, isn't really overly leg centric, but it's something that some of us have kind of started gaining enthusiasm in. Because I'm a massive fan of Eddie Cummings, massive fan of the Danaher Death Squad. So I've never had the pleasure of learning from those guys, but I've studied all of Eddie's fights and all of his tutorial videos so much that we built an entire curriculum. So we're in the last tour, myself and our head of security, we're training all of Eddie's stuff as good as we think we possibly can without learning from him. So a bunch of us at Gracie will go in early and train all like heel hooks and leg attacks and reaping and all that good fun stuff.
I think that the most metal submission is possibly the triangle. What do you think?
I'd say it's the inside heel hook.
Inside heel hook?
Oh yeah, that's the most metal because it does the most danger. It does the most damage, and everyone's the most afraid of it.
Yeah, and it always gets pathetic little blue belts like me. So yeah, yeah. I'm also from a school that's not really like leg lock centric or leg centric. So I'm up there with the upper body, but you go for the legs, and I'm just like tapping.
I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed because I'm not strong. I'm not fast.
Yeah.
I'm a slow learner. But when I started training leg stuff, because the reason why I got into legs, to segue, when I first got my blue, I was like, oh, now I can do straight ankle locks, whereas you can do straight ankle locks from white. So I just didn't know that. I was misinformed. So when I got my blue, I was like, all right, I want to learn these things called straight ankle locks. So I started liking them a lot, became a little overly focused on it, competed on it, and I did exactly what I said I wouldn't do, which is when I had the opportunity to pass open guard, I grabbed the straight ankle lock, sat down, the guy stood up, crushed me 12-0, and then took my back and got a rear naked choke. So I did exactly what I said I shouldn't do. So I started pulling back from legs a little bit, and it kept creeping back in. Like I'd train at other schools and see white belts that were doing heel hooks and knee bars and toe holds. And I wanted to learn what these things were, because everything I love in life, I like to go to the most extreme. Like when I got into metal, first it was like the obvious main metal bands. Then I wanted to find what was more extreme. Then I got into like melodic death metal, then black metal. It always got more and more extreme. When I decided I want to start cooking, the first thing I ever made was Anthony Bourdain's recipe for demi-glace, which took like 16 hours of bone roasting and all these like reductions and stuff. So it's all about the most extreme. And when I got into jiu-jitsu and started finding out there was a more extreme thing within jiu-jitsu, I was like, I need to learn that. I want to know what that is.
So you think you're going to get maybe into combat jiu-jitsu or something, or?
Sorry, what'd you say?
Combat jiu-jitsu. You think you're going to try that sometime?
No. I've been kind of critical of it. I think it's cool for the people that like it, but what I feel like is going to happen is, so combat jiu-jitsu is the open palm slapping. They're going to evolve it a little bit where they're like, all right, well, maybe some punches from the upper body up. Then they're going to involve kicks. Then it's going to become MMA all over again.
Yeah.
It's MMA light.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
exactly what it is. Yeah,
It's not for me. It's not for me. Even like when I first started, I started Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at the same time, and I liked Muay Thai more than Jiu-Jitsu at first until sparring. Like the teacher promoted me, I think a little too early, too advanced, and this amateur MMA fighter kid head kicked me as hard as he possibly could after cup checking me. And after that, I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. So even when I was like getting hit in the face in Muay Thai, I couldn't hit people in the face. But in Jiu-Jitsu, if someone tries to attack my leg, I'll happily attack their leg, or if they choke me, I'll happily choke them. It's not as I still can't imagine never hitting anyone in the face, but I can imagine choking someone all day long because it's a little more peaceful. No, I don't like doing that stuff. I don't like doing that. But I mean, I loved the striking stuff, but the sparring wasn't for me. But the sparring of Jiu-Jitsu is for me.
You ever try any other grappling arts other than jiu-jitsu? Like, you ever try catch or ever try sambo? I mean, all sorts of grappling out there.
I haven't tried them formally, but I think some of the people that I've learned from have, and I think a lot of the guys that have shown me some of the leg stuff have developed it from things like that. Like our head of security on tour, he's a retired pro MMA fighter, so he's had training from kind of all over, and so a lot of the stuff he's shown me has been incorporated from some of that stuff. Our last tour, we played LA. And unfortunately, Josh Barnett, I think, was...
Still there, Matt?
Yeah, it looks like he went... You still there?
Oh, shoot. Did it cut out? Sorry.
It did cut out a little bit. So could you repeat what you just said?
You're talking about Josh Barnett.
Yeah, I was saying I wanted to train with him at our last LA show, and unfortunately he wasn't in town, and he's one that I love his leg game, so I really want to learn from him. But it didn't happen.
Yeah, is Josh Barnett a fan of Trivium? Do you know?
I don't know. I know he likes really heavy stuff. Like he loves Amon Amarth, loves Behemoth. I think that maybe our newest record he should check out. I think he would like the newest one. Maybe the other two weren't as heavy, but this new one definitely is heavy enough.
The sin in the sentence?
That's the one.
Yeah, it's good material. I'm a big fan of Ascendancy.
Awesome. Yeah, that's my three personal favorites of Trivium would be a tie between Sin, Waves, and Ascendancy. Those are my three favorite.
Yeah, Waves is a good album.
Yes, it's a very good one. Very good one.
Now, you're a big aficionado of some more extreme metal. What are some bands you're listening to these days?
It's been all over the place. I mean, one of the big things in my life has always been Emperor, the black metal band from Norway. His solo stuff, Ishan, has been a massive influence on me. He's actually writing and co-producing my side project band called Mrityu, which it's rooted in black metal, but it's evolved from black metal. It's not like traditional metal. Behemoth, the Satanist, I think is one of the best black metal records of all time. I'm really into things underground metal. I really love how the genres dig and make subgenres in themselves. But as far as some of the newer, heavier bands, I've been really into the latest Fit for an Autopsy, The Great Collapse. I think that's probably the heaviest, if not favorite record of all of 2017. And the new Thy Art Is Murder is another record I've been listening to a lot during Jiu-Jitsu. So Thy Art Is Murder and Fit for an Autopsy are like my main two like Jiu-Jitsu records. And another one that I like a lot during training or just all the time has been the new Animals as Leaders, The Madness of Many.
Yeah.
Freaking unreal record. Like I how much I like Tosin Abasi's stuff, and I'm starting to incorporate that into Mrityu a little bit.
Did you hear the new? No, go ahead, Emil. Go ahead.
I was gonna say you featured Ishan on "Silence in the Snow."
Yep.
Or one of those songs on that album. Are you going to be featuring him in anything else upcoming? Still there, Matt?
Yeah, got a little blank. Got a little pause again.
Matt, you broke up again.
Shit.
Oh.
All right.
Now
Better?
we're back.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. My house's internet's really tricky in some rooms. I'm trying to find the right room. So no formal plan. Sorry again?
We were talking about whether or not you're going to be featuring Ishan on future.
So he's not going to formally be on any of the Trivium stuff. There's no plan for that. But with Mrityu, like I said, he'll be producing the record, engineering the record, and he's co-written a couple of the songs that we have for it. But no one's heard any of that stuff yet. I don't really know when we're going to do it because he's such a busy guy, and as am I with Trivium. So we will find the time someday. I'm just not exactly sure when.
Do you know if any of the if any of the Scandinavian guys in all those bands are doing any jiu-jitsu? I know that they're all built for it. A lot of them are very tall, you know?
Think. As far as band guys that I've trained with Billy from Biohazard, Ty from Everybody Panic, Herman Lee from Dragon Force. I heard Maynard trains. So no, I don't know about any of the Scandinavian bands. I'm sure a couple do here and there, but I'm not exactly sure who. But I'm always up for teaching people. We're about to tour with Code Orange in the UK, and I've been telling Jamie how I want to show him all the leg lock game, but also the spider game, because the spider game was like one of my first open guard games that I love so much. So I'll be able to train with him a little bit. I think a couple of the guys, or one of the guys from the band Creeper, just started training as well. So there are a lot of band guys that are getting interest into it. And so hopefully we end up touring together, because everywhere we tour, we have 10 by 10 mats and gis. And then we've got an expert, like a retired pro fighter with us. So that's always good to be able to keep it all up.
Oh, really? So this retired pro fighter tours with you and everything?
Yeah. He's our head of security now, and he's also like band assistant and tour manager assistant. His name's Andre Tiba. I think he's got a 9-2 or 9-3 record, and he decided he just wanted to stop, and he'd come.
All right, we broke up again, Matt. We broke up again.
On negative white.
Yeah, and we're gone again. Okay. All right, Matt, can you just repeat? I want to say oh, he's gone again.
There we go.
There we go. Okay. You were talking about the what's his name? Andre Tiba?
Yeah, Andre Tiba. So he's a retired pro fighter, and he used to come out on tour with us a little bit. I used to teach our sound guy, but he never joined a gym. So it was tricky for me, because it was like when I was a white belt, I was teaching a negative white belt, where it's like I was teaching someone from the ground up, which is that's difficult. Like I wasn't qualified to be teaching anyone. So we'd always both kind of get hurt. And I don't know how. I'm sure it was slightly beneficial. But once Andre started touring with me, I had a constant training partner that we can really keep it up with. So that's nice. Anytime we tour with bands that have more people to train, we have all the equipment with us, which is nice.
Wow. Yeah, that is awesome. And how many guys do you usually have to train with you? I mean, is it usually just you and him, or are you usually able to find other guys that can jump in and do some rolling?
As far as our crew, it's just the two of us. There are a couple other people that I'm friends with. I'm friends with a couple people from Henzo's gym that'll come out sometimes. Or the biggest one that I've spent the most time at is Absolute MMA in Melbourne, Australia. I believe that's where Craig Jones I'm not sure if he started in Melbourne or in Perth, but that's the gym that he trains under. So I've been able to train there a lot with their head professor, Tiago Stefanuti, and one of their black belts, Brenton McKitterick, who's a big competitor. So it's nice to be able to learn from all these guys all around the world.
Yeah, that's awesome.
During our interview, you and I discussed a bit about the concerns and difficulties of dealing with potential finger injuries. Because I don't know how many people know, but Matt plays both guitar and does vocals for his band. So if his fingers get hurt, you're going to have a night.
Funny you ask. This middle finger, this top joint here, I was grappling before the last North American tour. And normally when I see a big grip strip coming in, I let go right away, because I'm like, yeah, I'm going to watch my fingers. But I was gripping the bottom part of the gi lapel, and my partner kind of popped his hips out to strip the grip. So I didn't expect it, and I was holding on a little bit too long. So it dislocated that joint, and it hurt every song of every show of the entire last tour, and it still feels like crap. But that's just a part of it. And it's nothing crippling, nothing career-ending, but yeah, you do need to be careful. And luckily, right after that happened, I got home after the last tour. I heard of a company called Graps, GRAPPZ, who makes grappling gloves. So I started trying that, which has been good. It's been good because it buddy tapes the fingers together, kind of like Batman Returns Penguin, and it keeps them strong. And I've been taping that top knuckle as well. So there's little things. I felt like on tour with Andre, we never have any injury because we know what the stakes are. We know what we're doing during the show. So we keep it usually at a flow pace. We stick it a lot more drilling and a lot more flowing when we're touring. And then when I'm at home, if there's no touring really close, I can keep the training as hard as I want.
Cool. So, I mean, if you were ever injured, would there be anybody that could replace you?
No way. Yeah. I'll just have to bear with it. I just gotta be smart with it. I've definitely learned a couple things. Like when I was a white belt, we had this one guy from another gym come out, and he kept Ezekiel-ing me all day, and I didn't really know how to block against Ezekiel's at the time, and that definitely affects the voice. So that night, I sang like crap. And then it made me realize, all right, with Ezekiel's, we got to chill out on tour. Or if I'm a couple weeks before going on tour, I got to watch Ezekiel's. And anything that's more of like a trachea aorta choke. But like the blood chokes are fine, carotid arteries are fine, arms, legs, as long as I'm with someone that knows what they're doing. So when I'm home, I always just try to focus with guys that, if I'm about to get close to leaving for tour, there's a handful of guys I usually stick with. I like to train with like the real skillful, like we've got amazing black belts, like to train with those guys. And I just, nowadays I know when to watch it and what to watch for. But when I just get home and I've got months to go, we allow all subs and try to go hard and let whatever happens. And I like to see with, like, Andre was putting me in a pretty serious guillotine the other day. Actually, it was a Gogo Plata, a mounted Gogo Plata he had me in. And I wanted to see how long it took me to get out. I got out and I wanted to check my singing, and I sang and it was fine. So I like to test the limits and see how everything affects everything, but you got to be careful too.
Yeah. So your management never like tried to get you to put anything in your contract saying you like can't roll while you're on tour or anything like that? Because, you know, they did something similar to that with James Hetfield from Metallica. He broke his arm during a skateboarding incident, and after that, they actually put something in his contract saying he was not allowed to skateboard when he was on tour. So,
I don't think we're big enough for that stuff. So it's like if I do something, I just have to tough through it. Like I had to tape this finger every show. It sucked. It hurt, but I just had to do it. Yeah. I love the sport so much because the sport has definitely made me a better singer and guitar player, because it taught me what it was and what it is to relearn something from the ground up. Because I've always played guitar and sang in Trivium since I was like 12 years old. So I didn't know really what it is to get good at something again. And having to get good at jiu-jitsu, I was able to apply that to singing guitar. And now I make sure I sing like 2 to 4 hours a day. And
we'll see if he comes back in a moment.
did I cut out again?
You did cut out again. Like the last 3 seconds of whatever you were saying, last 5 seconds of what you were saying.
Fuck. Okay, sorry. My house internet is really shit.
I can also hear that I have a little bit of a delay. Like you're hearing what I say maybe a second after I say it.
Yeah, shit. Okay, sorry. I'll just keep moving around as that happens. No, I was saying that what's great for jiu-jitsu is it taught me what it is to drill and learn and have to learn something from the ground up. Applying that to guitar playing and singing has been something that's made me a far better guitar player and a singer than I ever. I think that if it weren't for jiu-jitsu, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have applied that intensive, heavy drilling like I do nowadays, which has really helped me out a lot.
All right. And he froze again. Okay, we're back.
It cut out again.
It did, but we got everything that you said, so it cut out at like the perfect time.
Okay. Our house is like the black hole of internet. It really sucks.
So, Matt, you were talking about how you found those grips, gloves. Are there any other things that you found to help with the throat pain or the finger pain? Any methods, any tips, tricks for a musician out there that's training?
Yeah, for me, I always like to do the finger taping style. I still do that, like closed knuckles, even with the graps. I'll still tape the uppermost knuckle. But before the graps gloves, I was doing, like the classic X tape where it makes the X on this bottom knuckle right here, the fattest knuckle. I've been doing that, but a slightly thinner taping where it actually makes the X on both knuckles. So I've got an X underneath this knuckle and an X underneath this knuckle, and then it supports and supports. So I was doing that all the time. We definitely found that with the last tour, ever since my affinity of kind of getting into heel hooks and getting into the game, to do more of no-gi stuff has been really cool, because I've always preferred gi and not no-gi as much, but now it's kind of shifted where I prefer no-gi a little bit more. So doing no-gi is something that's been safer for guitar playing as well. When I first started, I think I was wearing definitely too much protective stuff, too much preventative stuff, and I mean, it's just the sort of thing, the best thing you can do is just train with people that have the same goal in mind as you do. And that goal would be to be able to do this sport forever, not to do that one training, not to just do it for that one competition, not to just do it for a month and try to see who can just win by battering the other guy up, about making this the long game. It's something you can keep it incorporated in your life forever.
What do you think of competition?
I think it's fantastic, and it's a great thing of the time before they have to go do something. For me, it's a really risky thing for me to do competition even a month or two before going on tour, because I have done that, and I did have some pretty serious, not serious, but like risk stuff going on afterwards. So I think it's great for people to be able to experience that kind of thing. And I think what is competition for me is the shows. And I think that is a very important for people, a very important experience for people to have, where they can experience that kind of adrenaline dump and that kind of having to see if all the training you've put into something you love so much has paid off and has worked, where it kicks into muscle memory and instinct versus being something you have to think about a lot. And yeah, it's great for some. For some people, it doesn't work. And as long as they get what they love out of the sport and get what they love out of the martial art, then it's doing its due process to that person.
Would you ever be interested in doing a super fight with another musician who does jiu-jitsu? And if so, you want to call anybody out?
There's no one I want to call out, but absolutely. I mean, every once in a while when I'll see, you see kind of like, we won't bring up any names. You'll see like YouTubers who have done dumb things and they ask for forgiveness. And when I see those things, I would love to at times be like, all right, well, if you want forgiveness, I challenge you to a charity MMA match. And the winner, all the proceeds of this can go to the charity of your choice or the charity of my choice. So it's usually even kind of that, like, hypothetically in the back of my mind. But it's also not fair because those guys don't train. But it'd be amazing to be able to do something like a sub-only super fight between band guys in like a fun way. I think that when it comes down to jiu-jitsu and sub-only jiu-jitsu and competition jiu-jitsu, it makes sense to me more so than like a fight, like an MMA fight, because I am not a striker. I am a grappler. It'd be cool. I would love that. I think that'd be a great thing if a bunch of band guys got together and did that. Did that for fun, did it for charity, did it for something great, did it to further the sport. I just so coincidentally happen to be wearing a Twitch shirt, but it's that gaming platform. So I've been doing a lot of streaming lately on Twitch, and they lent me this backpack that they call the IRL backpack. IRL means in real life. So I've been bringing this backpack to a lot of my jiu-jitsu classes and having this streaming while all my followers on Twitch have been able to watch and see what BJJ is in person as it's happening live. Because a lot of our fans, Trivium fans, kind of know what it is, but they don't quite. And to be able to see it in real time where I'm grappling in class and people can ask, what was this? And I can explain what the point system is or what sub was. I think that's been really cool to give awareness and to bring awareness into what this great martial art is.
So getting back to the charity, if you did do a charity competition, which charity do you think you'd want to donate to? What do you think you'd want the proceeds going to?
I mean, right now for my Twitch page, there's a charity called Extra Life, which it's November 23rd of every year. And what it is, it's a 24-hour gaming marathon where every streamer plays for 24 hours straight and all the proceeds go to the children's hospital of their choice. So my children's hospital is Arnold Palmer's Children's Hospital of Orlando. So that's where I would have my proceeds go to for sure.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And so you're a big gamer too, huh?
Yeah, I've always loved games. And about 6 or 7 months ago, I met and befriended this YouTuber named Jordi Wild out of Spain. He's a Trivium fan. He's got like 7 million subscribers. It's what he does full time, what he does for a living. And it really inspired me. And I was like, man, I want to start doing that. And when I said that out loud, Paulo was like, well, you should check out this thing called Twitch. I checked it out. And for those unfamiliar, it's an app, but it's also kind of like, you think of it like a channel, think of it like a social media thing where it's people playing games and their followers or their subscribers watching and chatting with them as they play. But they've sort of segued into having this in real life thing where we were actually streaming our shows from this backpack. We were like the first band to ever do it. I had my guitar tech wearing it. He'd go into the pit with it. He'd go into the barricades with it. I'd wear it during sound checks, and people can get this new perspective that they've never had before at shows. So starting last Wednesday, I actually started streaming my daily practices, vocal practice, guitar practice, and it's been getting pretty high engagement. So it's nice to be able to show people what else I love, showing them BJJ and show them guitar and vocals and all this stuff. But also, yeah, a lot of gaming. Main games I've been playing lately are Overwatch, which there's now an official Overwatch esports league, which I've been loving to watch. So I was never really into sports until jiu-jitsu. At first I got into like MMA, but now it's just more so sports jiu-jitsu, sub-only jiu-jitsu, and esports. Those are like the sports that I follow. And it's nice to finally have some sports that I like and understand. And esports is definitely something that's pretty amazing. I mean, it's selling out arenas, and it's its athletes are treated like real athletes. They've got like nutritionists and personal trainers and chefs. It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice way to, I mean, back when I was a kid, my parents were always like, "Oh, you play video games, you're just wasting your time, you're just frying your brain and stuff like that." But now, I mean, people are making some serious money off of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. More than some bands. It's crazy.
It is. Yeah, I mean, you create the next big video game, and bam, you're a millionaire.
Yeah. Some of these streamers too. Some streamers are really on top of the world right now. Some of like
Yeah.
the top streamers in the world, and it's really cool to see that. It's really cool to see that all these professions, like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like metal bands, like gaming, these are all things that people's parents probably said that'll never be a profession, and now they are. Not just the parents, but like the naysayers, or
Yeah.
it's nice to see that. It's nice to see that other forms of careers have taken shape and evolved into something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, when I initially interviewed you, you were telling me that your first exposure to jiu-jitsu, if I recall correctly, was by watching UFC fights at David Draymond's house.
I was watching UFC fights as a kid, like the original, like UFC 1. My dad would bring me to a bunch of like pay-per-view parties with him and his buddies. They drink beer and grill, and they had UFC on. So that was like the first introduction. But the reintroduction, was while we were doing Vengeance Falls, and we'd have like the weekends, and David would turn on, and we'd all watch together. And it was kind of a combination of that and going to Brazil for the first time and loving Brazil so much. I said to myself, I want to do what Brazilians do. And that was basically either soccer or jiu-jitsu. And me being the kind of person that likes to always find what the most extreme thing is, I said, what's more difficult, soccer or jiu-jitsu? Looks like it's jiu-jitsu. Let's try that.
Yeah. Does David Draymond train? Did you ever train with him?
Never did. I don't know if he does BJJ. I think he did martial arts years ago. I don't know what he's currently doing now. But
Okay.
I don't think he trains BJJ right now.
Okay.
Definitely.
Very cool.
All right, so a lot of people train BJJ for different reasons. Some of them they want to be competitors. Some of them they want self-defense. Some of them they just love the art for the art's sake. What are your main reasons? What do you really want to get out of training BJJ?
When I was first, as being a half Japanese kid, I did karate as a kid. Fell out of it as I picked up guitar. Initially, when I was thinking I want to learn a martial art for self-defense, I was kind of thinking, is that the right motivation behind it? Because I don't know if it was a positive or negative motivation, but I felt like it wasn't quite right. And I was juggling between self-defense and wanting to find a discipline of something that was an art, that was something that can be learned. It was a mixture of those, and like I said, going to Brazil for the first time, loving the country and the culture, and wanting to do what they do and immerse myself in what they do, and just having that want to be into something martial arts, to find the correct art. And when I was thinking about that and researching jiu-jitsu and seeing how it really is a fantastic self-practice and a fitness and a mental activity. Motivations, I guess I can't remember why I got into it, but definitely why I stay in it is that it's one of the best things for my mind. Even when Trivium is playing shows, I'm playing guitar and singing, my brain is still in other places. I'm still thinking about, is that person having a good time? Or let's focus my attention up here on the upper rafters, or what am I going to eat tomorrow? Or am I going to get enough sleep tonight if I go to bed at this time? Or how much water have I had? Like, my brain is always going in those directions. But when I'm grappling, when I'm training, when I'm sparring, my brain is quiet, and it's amazing. It didn't used to be that way when I first started, when I was a white belt and I was getting my ass kicked. I was like, why am I getting my ass kicked? What do I do to fix this? But nowadays, it's one of the few times where it's just quiet. And the other times that I find is when watching an amazing movie or playing competitive games online. Those are like some of the few moments where it's quiet and it's clear. And I definitely think of that as a form of meditation, a form of Zen. So it's something that I love. I chase that feeling, and I love that it's where everything's quiet and things make sense. And definitely when I keep up active training, I feel better mentally and physically. I feel like mentally it's like seeing a therapist, like seeing a psychiatrist. I feel like physically it's like going to the gym, yoga, chiropractic, kind of, maybe in a bad way. But it's so beneficial overall for the mind and body, and that's what I love about BJJ so much.
All right, Matt. I know you said you had to get out of here pretty soon. You had to end the interview at about 3:45, right? So, Emil, anything else? Anything you want to ask him?
I just want to thank you so much for coming on here. This was a lot of fun to do. I've been a fan of your music ever since I saw you guys play Ozfest '05. So,
Holy
it was
shit.
really
That's awesome. Damn,
Yeah,
I was like
so
18, 19 then.
yeah, we're about the same age.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
But it's very cool to see you growing throughout the art. Hopefully, if you ever come through the Cleveland area, we get to train, or if you ever go through wherever Chris is living in
Virginia
Bolivia
Beach.
or Ecuador.
Yeah, no, Virginia Beach now. I'm back in the States.
Same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, anytime I'm ever in your cities, like I was saying to you, Emil, festivals are tricky, but headlining shows, tickets always on me. Just hit me up, man. Just hit me up a couple days before, and hopefully we can train.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, definitely.
And congrats on the new Vodcast podcast. Hangs, it's awesome. I love it. As soon as this is up, make sure you let me know. I'm sorry about the choppy internet. That's what happens when you live in a 1950s concrete block shoebox of a house.
I have the same thing. This house I live in right now, it's a black hole. It's like some places the internet just dies, but no, I totally understand that. Yeah.
Yes, it's now I'm sitting next to the modem, and that's why it's working.
It's your fault, Chris. It's your fault.
I am next to the modem.
Yeah, do you have any shout outs or any anybody you want to thank here at Pet?
I mean, if Eddie Cummings ever watches my YouTube video where I break down his moves and it sucks, I'm sorry. I need to learn from you, man. I guess one thing that is really cool that I do want to let people know is like Monday through Friday when I'm home off tour, it's a lot of practice. My daily routine is right at 9:30. For the first 30 minutes, it's vocal exercises, and the scales that I'm singing are the scales that I'm playing on guitar to a metronome. But the whole time, I'm watching competitive jiu-jitsu. And at first, when I first started getting into jiu-jitsu, I was watching a lot of Buchecha fights. But as I started gravitating towards more falling in love with the leg game, with Tana and Gordon Ryan, and I started seeing Eddie Cummings games. So most of the time, about 75% of the time, when I'm playing guitar and singing, I've got Eddie Cummings fights on or his instructionals on as I'm practicing guitar and vocals for those first 30 minutes. Then it's another 30 minutes of vocals with foam rolling and stretching, and usually jiu-jitsu stays on as well. So I try to train the mind as I train the body, and then try to learn those things and try to do those moves when I get in. But yeah, so I made a YouTube video. It's called BJJ Attacks in the vein of Eddie Cummings. It's on my YouTube, which is Matthew Kichi Heafy. If they look like shit, I'm sorry, Eddie. I need a private seminar, dude. I'll teach you some guitar. I'll teach you to shred on guitar if you want. If you teach me how to take some heels like that. And then my Twitch, as I mentioned, is twitch.tv/Kichi KIICHI Chaos REIGNS. Kichi Chaos Reigns, and on there you can see jiu-jitsu and side stage Trivium stuff, in the pit Trivium stuff, everything. It's all on there. My guitar practices, even the jiu-jitsu matches are on there as well. So if you go look at some of my replays, you'll see Eddie Cummings fights while I'm singing. It's pretty funny to see that.
Yeah, and send us the links in the Skype, and we'll totally...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll do. I'll send those links right now.
All righty, great. Okay, well,
awesome,
listen,
guys.
Again, Matt, it was a huge pleasure, and best of luck to you in all your future endeavors in music and in BJJ and just life in general.
Awesome. Stay in touch. Let's do this again, guys. Thank you so much.
Definitely. All righty.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Later.